just us. So I think we're just going to freelance a little bit. And I guess I'll just give you an update on the book and then we can talk about whatever. And we'll give Kathy some of her time back for a day. So the book is out. Am I okay, Kathy, to freelance like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the book is out on Amazon. The audiobook will be out, I think, by the end of the month on Audible, and pick a channel. That book is going to be very cool, recorded by a voice named Robert Sundin, who did Grapes of Wrath. The next 5 months are kind of preparing to launch this in DC as we continue to share this narrative within the military infrastructure, the military community, and taking it into corporate America. But I've been given a very interesting lesson within the military universe and how veterans like Dave act and react, both with his civilian mindset and his veteran mindset. And it's a fascinating universe to be in, to say the least. Let's see, what else can I tell you? We're doing a lot of podcasts. Looking at doing an event at Super Bowl, actually, in New Orleans, to try and cross over pro sports and military and business, which is something that I don't think has been done before. So we're looking to cross over those sectors. And that's about my universe. So Dan, let's hear about your world, and is there any intersection in my world that can help you?
Well, you connected me with your boy up in New Jersey. Thanks. I've got some following up to do with him on Culture City.
Oh, excellent.
We're playing a little phone tag right now, so I think it's my turn. I'm going to try to call him later today.
Phone tag. Phone tag is the way of the world, especially as we get into the back end of June and July. You are probably more lucky at phone tag than anything else. I almost feel like taking my calendar off until Labor Day because it's almost irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Oh, what's going on in your world, my friend?
Just been growing a lot with my mastermind, working with clients, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Excited. I've been really leaning into like audio events on LinkedIn, and it's been such an untapped spot for me. So that's really what I've been focusing on, and just I've been working with the older demographic because that's been the clientele that I've had for the past 11 years, and I've been finding that it's a lot of people who have a lot of experience and brilliance, but they don't know how to unlock it in this technology based world. So it's been fun. I have a client who's 81 who's crushing it right now. So it's been fun.
81. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how many times you? 6 times your age?
Like 3.
Wow. Wow. And Dave, I don't know if you can hear us or you can say anything, but I'd love to hear some of the things you got working on right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting a book here real soon. I kind of talked about it a little bit in my office hours yesterday. I just formed a partnership with the largest credit union in Iowa, and I'm servicing their 3,600 members. I just landed a keynote in Palm Springs in August. So speaking is like my foot in the door for a lot of things that I do, and through those relationships, a lot of other deeper work servicing the members of the organization takes place. But speaking is like what I lead with. And working on 2 more potential keynotes in November. And on top of all that, I'm getting my master's in psychology right now. So just a lot of stuff going on, but a lot of really good stuff too. And thank you, Scott, for making that like good warm introduction to Andy Reese. Andy and I have been talking. We had a great conversation a couple weeks ago, and then I'm trying to connect him with the TED Talk that I was on like 4 months ago. I'm trying to get him on that stage next year. So I hope that could happen. I've made the introductions already to get his name in that system. So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and things have been picking up. And yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome, my friend. Congratulations on everything. And I know the journey for the book will be a unique one. It is for all of us. I know how exciting it's going to be. And all the other elements.
Yeah, mine took an interesting turn. So a guy I used to work with, a guy I used to work with in corporate America, his fraternity brother. I was telling Kathy about this yesterday. He is part of a family who sold their trucking business to Penske for $810 million. So I'm talking to this guy. He runs his own company now. And now he wants, after he heard my story and how unique my angle is when it comes to money and all that stuff, he said he wants.
Let's see if we come back, Dave.
That took a turn like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like,
We're getting a piece of what you're saying, Dave, because you're on the train to nowhere. You're not using your sat phone. You should use your satellite phone today. So we're okay with that.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for joining in.
Jamie just working her way in towards us. But Dave, thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. And I know the challenges as you're driving. What I'm surprised about is that your video is staying intact. And we're only losing your audio on occasion, which is different. So, Jamie, we've never met. Good to meet you.
Hi, good morning.
And Kathy are just rapping about the universe. And
sorry, I'm like rallying this morning for me.
We're riffing a little bit about the book, but I think because we're all kind of generalized networkers, we're just kind of kicking some ideas and listening to feedback. So I really don't know your story at all, which is my fault, not yours. But how about give me a quick.
I kind of like I poked at you at Facebook, and you're like, I don't do Facebook, but I was like, I'm just kind of like coming in behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's funny. Social media is such an interesting game, right? So, me and Scott have had some very robust discussions about social media over the years, and I wouldn't even open up my LinkedIn universe.
Nope, I'm right there with you. I didn't touch any social media until 2 years ago. I was very anti-social media. I think that's the military in us that like says no to all of it, and then.
Yeah, well, I had no interest in doing it, and then because of the book, because of the military effect, it's been critical. I had no idea how important and how utilized LinkedIn was for veterans. It's staggering how fast and how many veterans are on LinkedIn. It's absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was with me.
And so we've just opened that door wide open. And it's been great to be able to support whomever. People love to get little highlights and little comments on their notes. And I still think that LinkedIn, and they don't care, but I think LinkedIn has dropped the ball in such a big way within this community, and it's okay. They don't care. But I'm hoping LinkedIn can continue to bring a very diverse and very fragmented military business network into a centralized arena, because it's not disappointing. It's very interesting to see how independent so many things are within the military business universe. I'd like to see much, much more collaboration.
Well, they pushed the first year of the premium. They did a great job, but at the same time, as soon as like they started dropping my comments and my likes, then I was like, I'm not continuing until you can get that together. So I just dropped the premium and they're still pushing the premium. And I was like, well, as soon as you get your act together on screening me, I'll come back. But yeah, the algorithm completely, because I haven't changed anything about anything, but my algorithm and the consistency hasn't changed on my behalf, but it's changed on theirs. It's completely changed. But
my comment on premium is this. I liken premium to a 12-year-old getting keys to a car. Okay. I mean, I don't know how to use it. I don't know what it can do. I don't know how it's going to help or hurt me. And as soon as I figure out what it is, you take the keys away. So I think that 1 year is actually irrelevant and may do people more damage than good because there's no teaching mechanism whatsoever by LinkedIn to show them how to use it.
No.
And
Well, I mean, I think it was supposed to be, you were supposed to have a lot of classes or something,
where?
but well,
LinkedIn?
no, I mean, by LinkedIn, exactly, but not to utilize your profile.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I
that's
mean,
where, if you don't know how to utilize your profile, you don't have actually somebody walking you through it.
and
Is
you know,
where
the
I didn't
powers that
know
be
what I
that
was
hold
doing.
those titles at LinkedIn are going to do whatever they do. When are you going to get that direction and tap? Where are they going to fit that in your coffee break? I mean, there's no space, so you're really left to your own devices. As you know, I'm preaching the choir. I mean,
Well, that's why I just stay the course. And
Yeah.
then is what it is. You got to network, and you still got to stay consistently networking, and you got to find the people, especially when it comes to advocacy. That's where I just stay the course, and I just find them one at a time. And if I find one at a time that's just frustrated and lost, I just stay on the mental health course. I'm very focused, especially one-on-one. And if I find somebody, especially coming into comments and in lives, and I just think that somebody is just getting frustrated, especially in this VA system, I need them to come, even if they're frustrated. And there's somebody always that's just like needing to reach out. I just know, because I've been in the VA system for far too long, where I didn't have that person that helped get me through it, even though I needed that help. And so there's a lot of walkthrough, especially with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is irrelevant to me. LinkedIn is just a platform that I use to get to other people. But I didn't have LinkedIn 20 years ago when I first got in the VA system. So now I just use it to help get to veterans that are I can hear in the comments, or I can hear in the frustration, or they're even using it like they've been trying to get a job. They've gone through they're doing it, they're applying for thousands of jobs, but they really don't know what they want. Those
Yeah.
kinds of veterans, I just need to get to those before they don't reach out, right? Like those are the ones I'm looking for. It has nothing to do with LinkedIn. LinkedIn's just a tool that I'm using, but I need to get to you before you just give up completely. So I just look for the keywords. That's what I'm sniffing.
I'd love to introduce you to a few of the authors in the book. 4 of them
I
actually.
know Tammy. I went through 22-0.
You did, so you know Dan
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know him from LinkedIn, but that's how 22-0 came about before he went off to the first responders.
Right, and now he's got Tenacity, which Tammy's a part of. Vian Morales, do you know Vian with Beckley Retreats?
Like there's some people I don't know I know, but I do know.
Yeah, and then Diana Villa, who does a lot with Wounded Warrior now.
Mhm.
I'll snapshot you both of their info so you can check them out. I'd say about probably half of the book is get some pretty solid footprints inside of mental health. You know, that's 50
Yeah.
total people, so about 25 of them are pretty deeply wired in. But 6 of them are pretty much full-time committed to the mental health side of the equation, and I think 1 is still in the active side. Well, she's still active. She's a Marine, but I think she's still. I haven't spoken to her since her latest movement, so I don't know if she can maintain that on the new base or not.
You mean actively in mental health or actively involved with the mental health?
Actively involved in mental health initiative, but she's also active duty, so she just got repositioned. So I know when we talked during one of her interviews that sometimes in her positioning, she just doesn't have the community access or other things that give her the flexibility. So I don't know
support.
It's either the support or the position, you know, her role. There's a whole bunch of dynamics that are going to go into whether she even has any time that's given to her. I just don't know what's going on with her right now. So I'm gonna let her get settled and then find out a little bit more.
Which is like if you had a cold or a flu, they give it time off.
Yeah.
Which is the bullshit part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's that's a challenge on so many levels, and we could sit here and get into a conversation about how U.S.
Well, that's why
employees-
I'm speaking up now, because that was what
Yeah.
my experience was in the military. I was a medic and I worked in the hospital. And then all of a sudden I couldn't tie my shoes and I couldn't do my uniform and whatever else. Like I was like unfunctioning. And then that's when the paperwork builds up and they start writing stuff to get you out of there and use it against you in your job.
Wow.
But now I'm squeaky as all get up because I
Oh.
think it's just where the system gets broken and the military uses against you on your job.
Do you know the name Clint Musgrove?
Mm.
Clint was a combat
Memory's not so good. Is it?
medic in Texas. He's in the book. He was medically discharged because of a I think it was an IUD actually that ended his career. But anyways, it's not like any of us have a shortage of people to talk to inside of the space, but
Yeah, Clint actually came. I never knew that about Clint until he came to the Dallas meetup. And I got a chance to
So
talk
now-
to him and meet Emily. I had no idea. I actually overheard him talking about it privately, and
Yep.
it's not something he really talks about, but I know he would. And the other person I was thinking of is Robert Hamilton Owens. So I
Yeah, I
don't know.
met him at the meeting. I knew about him, but I wanted to, that's why I went to Newport.
You
so I
went to the Newport.
literally was wanting to just discuss stuff with him. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
well, Robert, as Scott says, Robert's the
He's a
most interesting
doll,
man, right?
yeah.
I mean, if you guys want to see a really interesting documentary, watch his transatlantic row that he did at
Yeah.
age 71, I think, and it was
Yeah.
43 days. And he basically, it's about a 45-minute docu. It's unbelievable on what he went through. But
Yeah, that
yeah.
guy's a machine.
He was actually one of my most interesting interviews because there was too much and we couldn't figure out how to cut it. And so it took a while to kind of boil things down. I'm like, well, what do you want to talk about? Because I could have gone in 100 different directions. And one of the interesting things about him, Kathy, is that he does his Vietnam tour. Do you know what he did right after Vietnam? So he was smuggling through the helicopter networks. He was smuggling Christian literature into the countries. And he was taking out like something weird. I mean, none of it was illegal, but you hear smuggling and you hear Vietnam and you're like, all right, what is this? What movie is this that I've seen? But like, that was literally like his whole thing, right? And his whole story about him getting into the pararescue because he grew up on the beach in California is super cool because he basically grew up around lifeguards and active duties. Part of that's in the book about how he chose that role, but he could definitely be on TV with
So
his
were Vietnamese not allowed to have the access to Bible?
He was going into other countries. I know he was going into Cambodia, and I don't remember where else he was going. He was actually going into Eastern Europe, I think, a bit.
Mm.
And you know, the thing about Robert is you can open up one of these doors and it'll never close. So I was careful not to rip open the entire discussion, but it was, yeah, I think he was in a lot more of the Eastern European countries at that time. This was, 70 whatever.
Yeah.
But most interesting guy on the planet for sure. So Kathy, I don't want to oh good, I'm sorry.
You guys knew about Robert's 7 marathons and 7 continents, right?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, 7 marathons in 7 days.
In 7 continents, yeah.
Yep. Which is pretty
Wild.
amazing. One of the other things about him, and then we'll probably end this call in a few minutes, is that at age 66, he did the Navy's 50-hour fitness test. So when they go through SEAL training, they have different levels, and he's the oldest individual ever to get through this and get certified at the 50-hour. This is no sleep, 50 hours of fitness that he went through. And he was listed as the world's fittest man at that point in time. Even today, he's still doing pool training, and he does it with the next generation of, they call it CBs. So he's doing the next generation of the up and comers that want to go into pararescue or into the Coast Guard rescue group. And he's still doing it.
He trains them for their mindset on how to get through for Navy.
Yeah. Can you imagine him and Kofi next to each other? And
I don't know. I still think he'd have one up.
And by the way, and Kathy will end this in about 3 minutes if that's okay, but Kofi did the audiobook for me. So Kofi and Flying Wings was the company that brought my book alive.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. And Kofi and I have never met, which is not uncommon in my world because I have such a diverse network.
He's the best reason to come to the retreat if I have to vote. Just hanging out. I mean, Kofi brought so much laughter and fun and levity to the group. Him and Andrew DeGood were a little, they were like two little kids in the back of the class.
I can only imagine.
He's a beautiful man.
He's an interesting man. And, Kofi was in my first book. Of course, those are shorter stories, but very cool to have him in your universe to get to learn more about a man like Kofi. So, listen, I want to thank you guys. Go ahead. Yep. Sorry.
Speaking of your book, Mark Zinno had posted something about, I guess you mailed the book to him. I think he did it on LinkedIn or Facebook where he posted about it. And then it's good to hear him back on the radio here in Atlanta. I guess he's back with 92.9 The Game, which is the sports station out here, which is good.
Yeah, he is pushing back. Yes, I did send the book to all 50 authors and all 5 endorsers, and some of the videos are out, some of them are coming out. I've actually personally handed it to a few of them, and on my travels north here next week, I'll stop and see 3 of the authors on the way, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, if you ever write one with this many people in it, you may want to have help because the logistics of managing 50 personalities.
Oh yeah.
That's what we did with Standing O, and we said it was like herding cats. It was quite the logistical.
That's what I did with my book, but the beauty is what you said, Scott. I had somebody coordinating it. So I just had to do my portion, and she was amazing. She got it all together. We all had our own book covers, and it launched last